that have been on the market 200-300 days.
Mm-hmm.
They're just pulling their listings.
All right.
I think what you're saying, Lonnie, is correct. And what Dave said, this is our opportunity to be talking to people and educating them, or it's our opportunity to communicate with them. And communication is key because it's going to be our opportunity to be able to talk them through this. They might be freaking out. They might be thinking the world is going to end, but you cannot over communicate right now. And I think that's something that we need to let the agents know. You can do this with technology. You can do it just a phone call. You can do it with video. You can do it with a text or email. But over communicating with your current clients right now is what we need to be doing.
In our scripts, and coming from compassion, that's our very first start out in our scripts, and it is, how are you doing? You know, in our scripts, you know, especially if it's a cold call too, it doesn't feel like real estate is, you know, on people's minds right now, but it is actually selling and buying like it. And, but first of all, starting out with how are you doing? You know, how are you, you know, but it doesn't feel like it, but we are getting showings on our listings. People are needing to buy and sell. You know, there's 150,000 jobs that are being requested by Walmart, by the grocery stores. People are needing to buy and sell, and they are needing to move right now to find the job. So if you are wanting to sell, now is the time.
You're right, Jen. One of the things my coach told me to Google is, should I sell my home? And see what Google says. It's one of the most searched things on Google right now. One of the top searches that people are putting in. And what Google's saying is, if you can afford to buy or sell real estate right now, you should do it. Don't sit and wait for the market to turn or wait for the market to change. You should do it now if you can afford to. So it's a good message from Google. I like it. But it's interesting that that's the most searched thing. People are thinking about real estate.
That's really interesting, Troy. Just to clarify for all of our, we have almost 100 people on the call. We will open this up to questions at the end, and you're welcome to type your questions in the chat as well. So I want to go back, Walseths, Orns, Lockhart's. Let's go back to a time where the market had a big change in it.
There we go. I got it. I'm on. All right. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Catherine, if you can mute yourself. Thank you. I know you've all been through that. So I want to take you back to that time for a moment, and let's talk about what you did once you started to feel that change in the market. We'll call it a shift. I do have this sitting right next to me. And what activity did you change? How did you adjust at that time? And what was your result as you went through that market?
I want to add real quick about the market and what I would be talking to clients about real quick is
Sure.
to give them that bird's eye view of, you know, our local market. Is that since March of 2012, we've been in a very strong seller's market, right? Mm-hmm. So that's 7 years. We're going on 8 years now, basically. And Florida is usually a 7 to 8 year cycle. So before this happened, we were already at a very, very high point in the market. So if I'm a seller, you know, nobody knows what's going to happen eventually, but eventually the market is going to dip a little bit. So now would be a great time to sell. You might as well sell when it's high than when it declines, right? Yeah. Now, if I'm working with a buyer, historically, interest rates are still very, very low. And because of the Fed's move the other day, it's probably going to stay low for a while. So affordability is still very, very high. So I think it's the perfect storm for buyers and sellers right now, really, to do business. And then I would get into like more granular stuff is like people want to know that transactions are still happening. We put something under contract yesterday, and Troy had a very interesting deal last week. I think it was double-sided $1 million plus waterfront. And the buyer, in the midst of all this craziness, says, hey, I really hope this closes. I want to close quicker if possible, because in his view, this is a $1 million plus sophisticated buyer. Prices are going to continue to go up. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of different attitudes out there on the future of the market. So I think that would be a good the way to set the table for buyers and sellers is, kind of how it really is out there,
Absolutely.
And
Thank
I
you.
really like that. Is that an octopus or what is that on the wall there, Stacy? That's really cool.
I was commenting on that too. I said, I love Stacy's octopus. I don't know if that's appropriate or not.
It's appropriate.
I like it.
That's hilarious.
It's cool. I know where she lives. I'm gonna go find that. So
Yeah.
That's great. All right.
In regard to starting in a market like this,
Mhm.
I think, that's when Dave and I first got our license was when the market just tanked. And I think you get up every morning and you do the right things. What we did was we were beginners, so we didn't know any better. And we took Gary Keller's Red Book and we basically every morning got up and did what it said to the closest that we possibly could. So we were phone calls is what we decided to do to get business. And maybe we had to make more of them than in a good market. But I think that's what will end up gaining you market share. And sometimes you will get what we call invisible results. So maybe one day you make 2 or 3 hours of calls and you didn't get an appointment that day. That will come back to you. You will reap what you sow, and those people will call you at a later date and notice or send you a referral or something else. So it's just a day-to-day process of get up and do what we know that we need to do to get business today.
Right.
Yeah. And we're micromanaging every deal right now. So anything that you have pending, you're talking to everybody that's because you need deals to close right now for everybody. You're talking to the lender, you're talking to the title company, your closing coordinators. Everybody needs to be on the same page making these deals happen because they're so vital right now for your clients and and for your own business. So really paying attention to the pendings. And your current clients listed, same thing, over communicate, let them know every little thing that's happening in the market and just reassure them that, we're all gonna get through this for sure.
Awesome. Anybody else have any thoughts they want to share about when they went through something like this in the past?
well, there's been I wrote down 4 things here, 4 areas. So I started in '93 in real estate. Interest rates when I started, like Dave and Wendy, it was a different market then. It was a buyer's market. Rates were 9.75% when I started. And we were like so excited to go below 10. And somebody's echoing here. Anyway, the next little shift was the .com bubble, 2000 area, something like that. And it wasn't a bad market. It was a different market. It took a little while, 60 days, 90 days to know what was happening. And then you just adjust. After 9/11, nothing like a virus. We don't, nobody knows what's going on right now or what's going to happen. However, 9/11 actually happened. That was a little bit of a shift. And then our banking crash. And that's where Dave and Wendy said that they started in the middle of a banking crash. I mean, that's like, could you have a worse time? And you just get up and you do what you're supposed to do and you make it happen. And you use this time right now to be better, get better at what you're supposed to be doing. So.
Thank you. Anybody playing the bingo that Tiffany posted? If snoring dogs are on there, they're mine, so you can count them in your bingo. I can't shut them up. They're little short-nosed dogs. So, all right. So tell me, Dave, you've already started to touch on that. Where do you see opportunities to help customers? Let's talk about what conversations specifically you're having. Let's talk about calls that you're making beyond the deals you already have pending, care calls you're making to connect with people, leads you're following up on. How are you framing those conversations right now?
I think one of the things we can do is come from contribution. If we know somebody that has a small business and we can ask them how that's going. And if they're like, yeah, you know, it's all but shuttered, and all I can do is, you know, get the word out, you know, we can be doing that. We can be doing that on our websites. We can be sharing that. And so I think coming from contribution is where it's at right now. It's not, do you know anybody buying or selling? It's, you know, what do you need? How can I help? How can we help? How can we leverage the people we work and the people we know to help you out?
That's exactly right, Terry.
That's exactly right. And you know, we have a lot of non-owner occupied here. People might want, you know, hey, go check on my property, go check on, you know, my elderly parents live here in Florida, you know, can you check on them? But coming up from contribution, also on, you know, on social media, you can support your local business and give them a shout out online on, you know, Facebook or Instagram. Hey, we went and bought some gift certificates at a local restaurant. You guys should too. They're still open, you know. I know Shell's next to our office at St. Pete Beach. They're still open. So everybody's struggling. But yeah, if you can support those small businesses, they'll support you back for sure.
Great idea.
You know, reaching out to the clients that you have, your sphere that you have, and asking them, you know, how you can be of help to them is outstanding. Terry, I love what you said. I was reaching out to a ton of people yesterday, just saying, you know, are you here in Florida? Do you need us to go check on your houses? Like, just does your water still work? Do your toilets need to be flushed? You know, just silly things, but it's just those little things. They really appreciated me reaching out to them. And just offering the services like that, just to say, check on the house if they're not here, because, you know, and they really appreciated those little things. And for all of our high S's out there, I don't know, our panel is mostly about that, but I wanted to say,
take the time to update your information online at bankofamerica.com or on your Bank of America mobile app.
okay, so for all of our high S's out there, this is your time, you know, to write your letter campaign. Get into your sphere and start writing letters to people, because maybe you won't get on the phones and make the calls, but really lean into your sphere and to your clients and get a letter writing campaign out there and start writing, because I know that you're very sweet, kind, and maybe I'm not that type of person who can write those letters, but, you know, this is your time to do that. You know, really get into it. Write letters, because they'll love that. They can go out to their mailbox and receive that, and that they'll remember you. And, you know, don't put in a card, you know, it's just a touch. It's another touch that you can make, or even to expireds and to, you know, FSBOs. Write those letters and stuff. They will remember you, and this is the time to cultivate those relationships.
Jennifer, you're effervescent and bubbly though.
Thank you.
All right, I love that idea. And we know of agents in our office who are S's who've had success with letter writing campaigns. So it certainly can work. So what else? What other conversations? What specifically are you saying, talking about the market? Let's talk about this a little more. I think we can dig deeper on it as well. We're coming from contribution. We're offering. Troy, you said the biggest Googled thing is, should I sell my house? How are we having that conversation right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just go back to nothing's changed. Rates are incredibly low, like Dave said, all-time low. It's opportunity right now. If you were thinking of selling, nothing's changed. Let's get this property on the market. Let's get it under contract. Let's get it sold. The market's a little bit different. You know, with what we've got going on right now, open houses shut down, and not a lot of people out there, but it's still moving. The market is still moving. If you were thinking of selling, now is still the time. You are still in an area where there's very little inventory. 2.3 months, I believe, is the last I heard of inventory, which is a strong, strong seller's market, and rates are incredibly low, which are bringing buyers out. So there's still people out there that need to purchase a home, and this is the time to have yours listed.
Absolutely.
We'll take every precaution. Dave mentioned something really strong yesterday, shot an email to me about You know, if we're looking at this as we're telling a different message, we're still reaching out, we're still talking to people, but the message is different. What if we had, listen, after every showing, we're going to be wiping down door handles and counters and things like that, so everybody feels safe. Sellers feel safe having people in their home, and buyers feel safe walking in knowing we're not going to shake hands, we're not going to, you know, it's just a different message right now, but things are still moving forward, so it's still a great time to list.
I saw, Troy, that Chase for the Walseth team actually put a marketing piece out there on Facebook stating the things that they're doing to make sure that they stay safe. Awesome.
We actually typed out a list that you could put on the doorway of our listings, and it says the CDC guidelines. So on all of our listings, you could put it on the front door.
Awesome. Will you share that with us, Jen?
Sure.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Send it to Sheila and we'll get it posted out there for agents to use. I appreciate that. We did see from MLS that they are, as of Wednesday, taking down the ability to post open houses.
Yep.
So we did see that change come up recently. So let's talk about who you're calling. We've talked about what you're saying. Who are you calling right now? What are your teams doing and who are they contacting?
Who are we not contacting?
Nothing's changed. Everybody.
Right? Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Which means you're calling leads back, you're calling your sphere of influence, you're calling your past clients.
Yeah, relentless lead follow-up. We're calling sphere of influence. We're calling our past clients. We're calling our current clients, people that we're working with, people who we have listed, letting them know we're here for them, letting them know we care, and, you know, just hearing from us is
it's an easier call to call sphere of influence right now because I have something I can actually say to them.
Yeah.
Rachel.
I think also don't be afraid to make those cold calls, because those people need you more now than ever. If they had a listing that expired and they didn't have an agent that would have a tough conversation with them, or they didn't have an agent that was aware of the market conditions, maybe you're the one who can have those conversations to help them reduce the price and get it sold, or whatever needs to happen, stage it and get it sold. For sale by owners, don't you think they're a little afraid right now, and maybe now more even open to using an agent to get that home sold? So I think there's a lot of opportunity out there. I wouldn't be afraid if they're saying, hey, don't talk to me right now because of the virus, no problem. We're not going to try to force anybody to do anything they don't need to do. We just call and help the people that need help.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think the expireds will probably tick up a little bit, even, you know, maybe more in the short term than long term, but I would make sure that rainmakers are on those calls, you know, first thing, to really convert those. I think that's a big thing now is lead conversion. It always is the major skill to really have a big business, is that, you know, if there are fewer leads right now, you know, you really got to work on your conversion and make sure that, you know, those turn into business and dollars for your team.
Right, and I wouldn't be afraid to call them multiple times if you think, oh, I almost had a listing appointment, but this went wrong. I mean, it certainly doesn't hurt to call them back or have a team member call them back and see if they make a better connection.
Although if you're not on a team and you are afraid to pick up the phone and make a call though, but you have a caring, compassionate side though, this is a really good time to make a call, because you're reaching out to somebody who really needs you right now. Because they need us, honestly, they need us more than ever right now, especially those FSBOs. They really do need us more than ever because they're very fearful right now. They don't know what to do. And they do really need us more than ever. They need us to say, it's going to be okay. This too shall pass. And here's how we're going to help you.
Times on those calls, just the first person to reach them with some compassion too. So if I was a single agent, now's a fantastic opportunity to, you know, pick up some listings for sure.
Just the realtor, the very first person to call will get the listing.
Yeah. Happens all, yep.
the very first person to call will get that listing. So all you have to do is be the very first person to be the phone call.
Right. And don't be intimidated by the team thing or whether you have one or not, because you do have a team. It's just how you frame it. You have team leaders. You have probably a preferred lender. You probably have a preferred title company. So you do have a team of people behind you. Maybe even could be a significant other that helps you get out of bed every day. Whatever it is, you do have a team of people helping you.
Is that Lonnie? Or do you help Lonnie?
Now, what I would say, I would also be stockpiling the cancellations that are going out right now, because those people are going to relist. They were ready to list now. They're going to relist again. I would definitely keep tabs on that. And there's quite a few of them.
Yeah. Terry, what other advice would you give to agents right now?
So I think one of the things that right now everybody, Troy and I were talking about that this weekend. We did all these deferred maintenance projects and everything, but we're still coming to the office every day. And I'm not saying you have to go to the office, but for us, trying to be as normal as possible. We're still getting up. We're doing, affirmations and listening to podcasts and doing all those things, coming to the office and acting as if nothing has changed, because literally that's what Gary Keller's always said. It's all about consistency. And if you're going to take a little furlough, you're going to wake up one day and the market's going to be back and you're not going to have done anything. And so you have to continue on. And set up a home office. Don't do it at your kitchen table. Set up a space, a designated space, and say, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to make my calls. I'm going to watch my videos. I'm going to control the messages I'm hearing. Fear, a lot of it is people are believing everything they're hearing, and it's kind of scary. So make sure you're getting accurate information and that you're surrounding yourself virtually with positive people, with positive messages. I've actually had time to add more podcasts to my list, and it's great. It's great. There's some good people out there to listen to.
I love that you're always sharing great books and reads with me. And I knew you'd have great advice just to stay in a positive mindset and move forward with your action, move forward with your normal day. This is the time for us to stay in action, like you said. And there will be, I heard on a call recently that there are going to be a lot of abandoned databases out there. There's going to be a lot of abandoned customers out there. And as Dave said at the beginning of the call, these are the kind of moments where people take market share, where agents who are working take market share. So that's the opportunity. Any other advice out there that you have for agents? And then we've got some questions I want to start answering.
Real quick for our buyer's agents, we need to lean in on these transactions. Can I talk about the COVID-19 real quick?
Yes.
Our COVID-19, you don't have to start out with this document. What this document is meant to do is it's a negotiation tool. If you're ever going to be a transaction agent, now is the time to really be a transaction agent. You're going to work for the transaction. So our buyer's agents, our listing agents, you want to make sure that you use this tool as a tool to negotiate. There's going to be times when you can't actually, you have to extend some of these deadlines. If the deadline has not passed already, you can use the COVID-19 addendum to extend a deadline. And so that's what this is going to be used for. So if your buyer or does not have a job and it's financing, then you're going to extend your financing contingency, okay? So that's what this is for. But you wanna always, like David said, you want to make sure that you're a transaction agent. You want to contact your people all the time, constantly, to make sure that you're continuing to stay in touch with title, continuing to stay in touch with your buyers constantly, to really lean into these transactions and make sure that you can hold them together as much as possible. We want to see these closings close, okay? All right, and really remind them of their motivation, also of why they went into the transaction in the first place, and really try and be a transaction agent on these, okay? Let's see these transactions close.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. We have
good time to go through expenses. You've got a little extra time. Start looking at your expenses. Tiffany can attest. I started looking at ours. It's a good time. You'll find debit cards are great, but you'll find how many people keep hitting your debit card every month when you really take a hard look.
What are you doing when you're looking at those expenses? Are you cutting them, Lonnie? Are you cutting those expenses?
We are.
Yeah. Do you have a percentage that you're working to cut?
No, I understood Gary said 10% when he spoke last week. I don't think we have been doing a really good job with that for the last year. So we don't have a whole lot to trim, but we are going back and really
Just
making sure that we are where we need to be right now.
Very good. I have a question out there are you calling for sale by owners and with a few days on the market, and what are you saying to them?
I say absolutely. I mean, I've called somebody before that was a for sale by owner day one, and they said, well, we just thought we'd try it for the weekend before we interviewed agents. So, I mean, go in there with no expectations. You may be the first one to call them. Maybe they don't list today, but the for sale by owners, they need help. I wouldn't shy away from calling somebody on day one.
Thank you, Wendy. Actually, that question was pointed right to you, so I'm thankful that you answered it. What about open houses? If we have this new mandate out that we can't post, how are you going to pivot open houses? What are you going to do in that arena?
We've been doing a lot of virtual stuff. I really did a Facebook Live video walkthrough on one of our new listings and posted it out there to 5,000 people. A bunch of them shared it. I actually went down the canal in our boat, and the seller happened to be out on the dock, and he said, "What are you up to?" And I said, "Well, you're live on Facebook." And they appreciated it. So it's a little bit different game right now, but you still got to get it out there. You've got to get it out there to the public. You've got to keep marketing, but your message is a little bit different. So.
Any other thoughts on open houses or other ways to, are you having virtual meetings? Let me ask you that. Are you having virtual meetings, listing appointments, anything like that yet?
Virtual meetings, yes. Our meeting is virtual tomorrow. We have them every Wednesday morning, and tomorrow will be via Zoom.
Awesome. Is there anything else that I haven't asked you that you want to share right now? We're good? Okay, so we're gonna open it up to these 100 people that have logged in to hear what you have to say. And I'm gonna first open it up. I don't know if you can unmute yourself. Yep, she's unmuted. To Rachel. Rachel wanted to share a few things as well. Miss Sartain, Tenpenny, are you there?
I'm here.
There you go.
Hey guys,
Hi.
thank you. So first of all, I think it is amazing to have 100 people in here. We've had a couple, we've been doing Power Up. It's open up to the Beaches office and to Seminole, and we've got participation from both, but we've been doing Power Up via Zoom and Ignite via Zoom. We just had an ALC Mastermind via Zoom. I'm in front of this camera from 8 a.m. Yesterday it was from 8 a.m. to like 3, and today it's gonna be from 8 a.m. to 5:30. So my butt's getting sore in this chair, but this community that we're building is amazing, and the camaraderie and the shared information, nobody else out there is doing this. And Wendy, you were talking about calling FSBOs and being the first agent to call. Well, yeah, we probably will be the first agent to call, because all of the rest of them are hiding. They have no clue what to do. And you guys are connecting and plugging in and putting yourself in an environment where we're finding solutions and we're being creative so that we can keep moving forward. And, you know, in 2, 3, 4 months, wherever we are, we're going to be on top. So kudos to all of you guys. Love that. The other thing, Troy, when you said you've been in the business since 1993, I was so excited to ask you this question, because people keep referring to this as like they're using the parallel of the recession. And I said this story in Power Up this morning. which I invite all of you guys to Power Up. Are you guys doing a Zoom Power Up at the beaches?
We've had great participation in our Zoom Power Up.
Okay, awesome. And even if we can connect the two, I would love to do that, include you with Michael on the panel. So I saw the change in the market in 2005. The absorption rate changed around August. It went from 62.5% and then started steadily declining. And then average sales price started steadily declining in July of 2006. So by 2007, I bought an investment property thinking, wow, this can't keep going on. Most people didn't even feel it until, Jen, I think your mortgage company shut down in 2008. Yeah. So most people didn't even feel it until 2008, 2009. Yeah. And so the recession was like this slow burn. This isn't a slow burn. I call this a quick throat punch is what this is. And so somebody was asking me, when's the last time you've ever experienced something like this? I couldn't think of anything except September 11th.
Yeah. It's very similar. I mean, don't be offended when I say this is a very similar time, because it's way different, but it feels like 9/11 right now. Yeah. Streets are deserted. People are shut down. They're watching the media. They're watching the news. They're wondering what's going to happen with the economy. It's similar setting, way different, but similar setting.
They can't travel, we can't gather, there's no sporting events. So to me, there's so many parallels. And then I asked Steve Capon when he started his mortgage business, he said January 2002. I said, well, what was the market like then? And he said, at that point, he didn't even have any effects that he felt. So do you remember how long the shock last?
Again, without being offensive,
I know, I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just looking at parallels.
Not at all. I honestly believe that initial shock, it affected us forever. And now it's become our new norm. Terry and I talked about this earlier today, actually. But it affected us for physically, mentally, business-wise for probably 30 days. And after that 30-day period, we've become a new norm. And now it's like, we don't even think about it. This is what happened after 9/11, and this is what we do right now. And I think it's going to be the same thing with this virus. People are going to be washing their hands more. It's going to be the new norm. We may not walk into a house and say, hey, buddy, and shake their hand. It might not be like that. It might be a whole new norm. But, you know, I think things in our life were back to normal unless you're from DC or New York within 60 days. So
yeah. I so appreciate that insight because Kathy Sanch was in the business then, and she gave us a little insight, and I really appreciate that, because you're right, it is a new norm. And so everybody that is participating and plugged in here, and you know what Wendy and Dave are talking about, what Jennifer and Lonnie and you and Terry are talking about, you've got to keep working, make the contacts, just check in, stay top of mind.
You know, Jason Abrams has been really talking, as we've been talking about Command recently, he's been talking about that continuum where from here to here is the actual lead gen, and from here to here is the place they decide that they're going to buy or sell a house, and the time you actually get paid, which is on average 7 to 10 weeks, I think. And so it's this, all this time in between here, which can be 3 years, it can be longer, that it's the agent who stays emotionally close to them that they end up using when they make the decision to buy or sell a house. And that's what this time is. I mean, our habits, our systems, our models are to connect with people voice to voice, face to face, quarterly, right? And this is such an apropos time for us to make those care calls and have that conversation and stay emotionally close, because what's the number one thing that people want in an agent? Somebody that they can trust. And when they know you care about them, then there's a level of trust that they have for you to call you when they're actually ready to make that decision. And this is the time for us to stand up as leaders, as business owners, and make those connections. And whoever said it, I think Jen, you said it, it's almost easier now because we have a great reason to call and check in on them, and you're just coming from contribution. And like Wendy said, the results come. It doesn't matter if it's right away or not. All right, Sheila, if you can, I don't know if everybody can unmute, or I just want, if you, not everyone, if you have a question, I'm not sure if you can unmute yourself. I think you can.
Yeah, they can unmute themselves.
Okay, great. So if you have a question for the panelists, please unmute yourself, and this is your opportunity to ask some questions to these top agents. I have a question from Shoba. She asked, people are losing their job and can't pay a mortgage. What do we say to them?
Thank you for that, Kristen.
You're welcome, Shoba.
It's not a good time for you to buy.
Losing their job and can't pay their existing mortgage, there's help. Call your mortgage company immediately. And this is how you as agents can actually help the people you're working with, because I don't know of a mortgage company that will not do this for you during this time. But you can take that, probably the next 2 payments, and add them to the back of your loan. And it's just, it's something that I'm sure Dave and Wendy are completely familiar with, or anybody that went through this, the banking crash before. These people are going to help you out. You've just got to communicate with them. So talk to your mortgage companies. If you're shutting them out and not saying a word, they're going to start foreclosure, and it's a lot quicker now than it used to be. So have conversations with them. They understand what's going on, and they're going to help you.
My other question is, like, our co-op agents, like I've got one holding off sending me an offer because his client, the buyers, are also selling their home, and they're feeling very nervous with what's happening now. So they're like just standing still. What else? I mean, I've told him, like he said, I don't want to be pushy because I don't want to lose my client. And I said, we're not in the business to be pushy. We're in the business to educate them and help them make the best decision that's best suited for them and help them move along while they're selling and buying. Isn't this the right time for them? Why are they buying? Why are they selling? Maybe you need to ask them that. What else do I say to them for us to help our fellow co-op agents as well? Because most of the agents out there that are not with KW, they don't have the mindset we do. So when their clients have those limiting beliefs, while this may be the very great opportunity for their clients, and they also have the limiting beliefs, they're not able to get over that hump as we might be able to. How do we reach out, and what else do I say to them other than what I've just said?
Shoba, I think you already answered your own question. I think you're right on track. You can educate them. You can tell them that nothing's changed in the market, extreme seller's market, great time to buy, but you're not going to be able to pressure somebody. If they're not comfortable with moving forward, they're going to have to move on.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and I just want to thank you guys. This has been awesome. I mean, I've been in touch with another agent in Pennsylvania, and she's like, everything is shut down. Actually, Connecticut. She's like, I'm so bored. Everything is shut down. I said, I've already told you. Have you joined KW? So thank you guys, Rachel, Kristen, all you guys on there. You're wonderful. This has just been great. I have a full day every day. Every day my day is full between our Ignite and Power Up and these meetings and doing calls. I mean, the day it's like 7 o'clock and I'm still like, oh my God, I want to do more. I want to reach out to more people. So thank you for that. I appreciate it so much.
You're welcome, Shoba. Rachel, was that a hand? You had something to say? Okay, I have a question too after your comment.
This is regarding what Shoba just said, and I don't know if you're experiencing this as well, Kristen, but right now, if you guys are interested in growing your passive income, it is like the easiest time I've ever experienced. I've got 3 appointments with potential mergers today because they're small independents and they don't have any resources and they're scared. I had one agent that joined us. She's been a commercial agent for 30 years. She was looking at joining us or her friend's brokerage, and we spoke on Friday. Well, her friend's brokerage shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you care about other realtors in the community, and not that you don't care, but if if you have friends out in the community, this is a conversation that they don't have this. So just invite them, get them involved, share the link with them. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Have a great script on that to share, like to send out an email or a text?
I would just have a conversation. What is your office doing right now to support you in your business during this time?
Always invite them into our conversations on Zoom.
I've invited a few for the shift on Thursday.
Yep, great. Question from Brad: Have you dealt with force majeure? I never say that right. Sorry. Have a pending where the builder is bringing it up to try to pull out.
Are you asking me? The force majeure, what I would do is, that's the whole purpose of the COVID-19 addendum, was the Florida Realtors Organization put that out because of the gray area of, does this fall within force majeure? So you need to.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Go ahead, Jen. No.
I was going to say this actually doesn't fall under the force majeure because it's not an act of God, honestly, is what they are saying. So that's why they did the COVID-19 addendum, because it actually doesn't fall under that. So that's why they did that. So this is because it doesn't automatically extend under the contract under the force majeure. So that's what they did, an actual addendum for COVID-19. So
I know. I think where the gray area comes from is some people are calling this an act of God. So we have to, you know.
I get it. Take it. Yeah, you're right. It does sound like that, but under the contract, they're saying it doesn't. So that's why they're saying use the addendum, and then contact your lender and make sure that your lender is going to be able to lend. Contact your buyers, as David said. Please contact everybody in the transaction continuously. Make sure that your buyers do have a job, that they are employed, and make sure that your dates don't expire. So make sure that you extend your dates prior to the expiration of all of your dates of your contracts. So make sure all of your critical dates are in front of you on all of your contracts, and don't let them expire, please.
I have a question from Eve. I had 3 sellers call me this week and asked to have their properties temporarily removed from the market until this problem blows over. Need a slam dunk response.
Well, I would ask them, what are their concerns, and then get right back into, how many transactions have gone under contract, how many transactions have closed, if everybody's taking their properties off the market, less on the market for people to look at. I really got to get into what their real feelings are. Sometimes you just, you tip your hat and say, okay, let's take it off the market. But more times than not, you can handle those questions just with the facts of the market. And most of the time, it's always best to be on the market.
Right. It's kind of similar to the holiday question, right? I don't want to put my property on the market because it's the holiday. Well, one of the things that's similar with that is that if you have a buyer buying right now, it's a real buyer. You're not going to have a ton of looky-loos right now going in houses just for the heck of it. So, and you want to be on the market while the rest of the people are going off the market, then you have the best chance to sell.
Awesome. Any other thoughts? That was great.
I think the comment that Gary said in his message is what's changed. Where are they moving to? Where's their motivation? What is their motivation? And that goes back into, I keep telling everybody to get into Ignite. I don't care how. I'm taking Ignite. I'm actually co-teaching it with Michael Reedy, because we've gotten fat and lazy. At least I have. And meaning we've gotten away from the foundation, the fundamentals, with our expenses, with our skill set. And I don't know that, finding somebody's motivation and really digging in deep to understand urgency is not a skill that a lot of people have mastered. And if we've got somebody's home on the market and they're like, oh, well, I'm going to wait, then, and you don't know their motivation, you can't go back into that conversation and really get somewhere. It's too surface level. So you got to start scuba diving.
That's it, because emotion will make them act where logic, will have them continue to think. That's so important to know their motivation. They say, I want to take it off the market, the sky is falling. Say, I totally understand what you're saying, but you did want to move to Idaho to be near your daughter, right? Or you did want to sell and retire and move to Indiana, right? You did want to sell and go and help your single parent daughter help raise your grandchildren, right? So once you get into the real emotion of their selling, their motivation, that'll move people. And it's not some weird salesmanship, whatever. You're really helping them, remind them of their motivation and why they want to sell and why they want to push through right now. Because believe me, if you can get them to push through with the right motivation of selling, they will thank you forever for helping them, move on with their life.
Dave, over that. We've had people, when they finally got the contract and went effective, we've had people like literally cry and say, thank you so much for helping me through this, because it's so important for us to get to Carolina.
I just want to jump in on, when we talk about motivation and when I'm talking about digging deep, and I know that our panelists know exactly how to do this. So I remember going on a listing appointment and so why are you guys selling? We're getting a divorce. Oh, okay. And you just stop there. Then that's not scuba diving. That's very surface level. You can't really go back in and hold on to the motivation. Somebody said the other day at a meeting, they said, well, you definitely don't want to be quarantined together, so let's get it on the market quickly. I thought that was hilarious. But no, you got to go in. Like, have you guys had it appraised? Have you met with attorneys? Who's going to be staying in the home? How are proceeds being divided? Like, you really got to go past your comfort level, that surface level, and deep dive into their motivation.
Yeah, this is the time to have real consultations and ask the questions, and we keep going back to this in our conversations. It's about having fierce conversations and not being afraid and backing down when given an objection, knowing that objection means that there's a fear there's a concern, and it's our job as the professionals to dig in and find it. Drew, for posting that link. There is a link that Drew just posted to everyone in the chat box, and it's the Pivot Shift Ahead. There is also a new Facebook group called Pivot Shift Ahead that we've posted in our closed group. It's open to all agents, so you can share it out to your co-op agents and anyone that needs some resources and a place to connect in. Thanks, Drew, for posting that. All right.
And sorry. But I think somebody was asking for the shift class on Thursday, so I'll post that one in just a second. Let me go grab it.
Okay, awesome. Well, Dave, Wendy, Jennifer, Lonnie, Troy, and Carrie, thank you so much for coming and sharing your expertise. I would like you to each, a year from now, if you look back and you're looking at this moment right now, how would you finish this sentence? I am so glad that I
kept working.
Thank you.
That I'm at Keller Williams and have partners to talk to.
Awesome.
I was there to help my clients.
Awesome. Jen, Wendy, Terry. Oh, I can't hear you, Wendy.
Oh, I'm so glad that I stuck with it, did the right thing every day, and helped as many people as possible.
Thank you.
So good.
They already said that I'm at Keller Williams and that I was able to have all these tools that taught me everything to be able to understand how to truly reach out with compassion and caring to all these clients, because they need us so much right now.
Awesome. And Terry?
Just that I kept positive and didn't play the chicken little. I think that's historically been my thing. And maybe with age comes a little wisdom.
Awesome.
I just want to say one other thing. I think that it's important because with the fear and anxiety that a lot of us feel, it builds cortisol in our bodies. And I think that all of us need to get out and exercise a little bit. We need to make sure that we get those endorphins going in our bodies because that builds happiness in our bodies, okay? And those endorphins are little happy hormones that we need, okay? So our health is very important.
Absolutely, because you're going to have to absorb a lot of other stuff from the rest of the market. So yeah, you got to be healthy yourself, number one.
We should have started with that, yet I'm glad we're ending with it. So I just have to say I'm so proud and thankful to be in business with all of you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. And thank you for all the participants. You are such smart agents to take your time on a Tuesday and get on Zoom and plug into the expertise that you have at your fingertips. So congratulations to all of you for being here today, and let's all go make some calls and help some people. Sound good?
Thank you.
And I thank both team leaders because you guys really, it was great hearing you guys too, both kind of weave everything that KW has taught us over the years and kind of weave it together. And I definitely benefited from that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you, guys. It was amazing.